All right, Shalom. First off, I'm going to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha Kudash. Yahweh being the Heavenly Father's true name, Yahweh Shai being the name of his only begotten Son, giving double honors unto the elders and the apostles, a great millstone who rule well and teach well, and peace, blessings, and salutations to all you walk him throughout the four corners of the earth, continuing to push and do the works in truth and in sincerity. All right, this is the brother Mashai, one of the men coming up under the branch out here in the morning camp, here with a quick lesson once again through the Spirit, and really just what this lesson is going to be going into is how we look for new heavens and a new earth. Okay, like the precept says. All right, because reading in the book of Second Ezra, okay, pretty much the mentality he was in was, look, all this wickedness is going on, and Jake is being judged. All right, and it's like, when is it going to change? Okay, when is like the scripture says, but pretty much he was in the mentality like, when is that kingdom that you're talking about going to come, right? And that's exactly the same mentality and the attitude that the hopeful elect are, that we're in the time that the hopeful elect in the times that we're in right now are in. All right, the men of the Lord, okay, are looking for new heavens and a new earth, like the precept says. All right, which is what I'm going to start off with. Hebrews chapter 13, and starting at verse 13. So like here. This ain't the one I wanted, but I'll read it anyway. This is Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 14. For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. All right, and that's plain and simple. All right, we have no we don't. This is not our we have no continuing city here. All right, but what we're seeking for one to come. All right, ultimately, being the kingdom. All right, because like the precept says, okay, the mentality that the men of the Lord are in, hey, they're citizens of Zion. All right. Let's get that Micah 2:10. Because ultimately, too, we understand, why this place got to go. All right. This is Micah chapter 2 and verse 10, and it reads, Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with the sword of destruction. Okay, so, and that's plain and simple, all right? And this place is not our rest, all right? It's polluted. It's a lot of wickedness going on, one. All right. You got the alphabet community, okay, going on. All right. What else? Your food is defiled. All right. It's only getting worse and worse. You can't even now it's not even really safe for a young Slakia. Slakia about that one to clear my throat, but now it's not even safe for a toddler ultimately, because there's so many things and distractions that are going to distract them and can taint their minds. And it's like, I mean, you wouldn't even want to have one. But I mean, of course things happen, but it's just not safe to raise a kid here. All right, on a physical level and even spiritually, But it's a lot of that's a few things you can name, but it's ultimately a lot of many more things going on. All right, because ultimately we have the wicked that's in rulership, and a lot of things he's turned upside down. All right, like the precept says, the roughly paraphrasing, the turning of your things upside down, all right, shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. All right, so but it shall destroy you even with the sword of destruction. Right, this food you're eating is tainting your mind. Okay, this polluted food, defiled food. All right. This goddamn concrete that we walk on, all right, it's suffocating the earth, you know. Just many different things, all right, that isn't healthy. It's in a healthy kingdom or environment to be living in, you know. So that's why, like it says arise ye and depart, all right. But let's get that in Romans 12. All right, because the men of the Lord are doing this spiritually, arising and departing spiritually. Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. This is Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. Right, and that's what the men of the Lord are doing. Okay, once you wake up to this truth, okay, you live and you understand that, hey, your life, you're living on your life isn't for you no more. Ultimately, you're living to serve the Lord. All right, pretty much you're making your body a living sacrifice. All right. Verse 2, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. Right. It says to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So once you're renewed with this knowledge, that's when your mind is transformed. Okay. And that's a form of what? Not conforming to this world. Okay. Which is what? Departing spiritually. You're not taking part in the wicked acts and like the precept says, you're not running to the same excess or riot like you used to with these wicked individuals, you know. So that's what the men of the Lord are doing right now. All right, but from here I'm gonna go to 2nd Ezra chapter 4 and verse 29. And this is something that Ezra was asking, and this is exactly the same attitude and mentality that the men of the Lord have right now. Because some days are some days are better than others, but of course we're still living in a wicked kingdom, and it's like, man, when is this place just gonna go? And we don't have to. Sometimes you just wish all hell was breaking loose already sometimes. All right, so that all you could be thinking about and worrying about, all right, is the Lord coming back and delivering you. If you're one of those individuals, right? But of course, everything has to happen according to the Lord's time, right? This is 2nd Ezra 4 and 29. If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good, right? Because there's a lot of evil and wickedness that is being sown here. All right, the things I just named, all right, the wicked lewd acts, all right, like I just said, the alphabet stuff, right? You even got children being murdered, all right, like due to sacrificing. Those are all wicked, and that's all wicked and evilness that's being sown here, right? So it says if this so if as long as this is still here, then the new kingdom that we're looking for can't come, all right? The kingdom of heaven ultimately. Verse 30, for the grain of evil seed that's been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning, and how much ungodliness hath it brought up unto this time, and how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of threshing come? All right. So what? Like the precept says, all right, we understand that once Adam sinned, a sin fell on the rest ultimately, and it got worse and worse, right? So that's why we need this place to go down so that a righteous kingdom can come. From here, let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 7. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? Right, so he's asking of the times, like when it's going to be the end of this kingdom, right? And the angel said unto him, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right, and we understand that. All right, we know and understand and can identify through the scriptures who Esau Edom is. All right, being the so-called white man, all right, as they call it, quote unquote, and Jacob is you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? So we understand, okay, that hey, obviously, who was the slave? Who were the slaves this whole time? All right, it's clear to see, right? That's why it's, Deuteronomy 28:68. All right, the so-called Negroes were brought here with yokes of iron. Okay, you had the Northern Kingdom, so-called natives and Hispanics. All right, that were when Christopher Columbus came over here, they would put on ships and shipped to Europe as well. Mainly the tribe of Ephraim, if I remember. That's where I read about it from. All right, so we're looking for the end of this white man's, this Esau Edom's rulership, so that Jacob's rulership can come right after. And this is what we're using, okay, and looking at the prophecies, all right, or this is how we understand and know that the righteous kingdom is coming after this one ultimately, all right. Or let me rephrase that. We using this, we know and understand that once the so-called white man goes down, that's when the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are gonna be in rulership, right? But so I didn't mean to kind of overspeak too much on that, but from here, let's go to 2 Peter. 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 13. 2 Peter 3 and 13. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Right, so we look for a new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth all righteousness. All right, because once a new heaven and a new earth is established, that's when it's going to be peace on earth, complete peace on earth. All right, and the Lord's people, okay, are ultimately gonna they're gonna have their inheritance. All right, which is ultimately the kingdom of heaven, because like Romans 9 says, let's grab that real quick. Romans 9. I'll just get to the point. Romans 9 and 3. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach, from my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh. Right? So, according by bloodline, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of the Most High and the promises. All right. But it mentioned two things. It says in the glory and the promises. Okay. The glory is going to be ultimately when the kingdom of heaven is established, and the promises is what? Inheriting all these other nations, and even more than that. All right. This whole earth. All right. The whole universe ultimately. So that's the inheritance that's meant for the Israelites. All right. But that can't come, once again, as long as this kingdom is still up, right? Because this is Esau Edom's rulership. This is his heaven. So from here, let's go to Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 14. Hebrews 13 and 14. For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. Right. So we have no continuing city here, because ultimately this isn't our rest. All right, this isn't our kingdom. All right, but we're seeking for one to come. That's why the men of the Lord are doing the work right now, because it says labor that you may enter into that rest. All right. So, this is the mentality and the attitude that the hopeful elect have right now. All right. But that's pretty much the point. Just going into, within the book of Ezra, pretty much he was crying out to the Lord because he hated, what he was seeing in the times that he was in. All right. But with that, I want to say, call hello, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash, upon the spirit upon me to do this lesson. Double honors once again unto the elders and the apostles, a great millstone who rule well and teach well. And peace, blessings, and salutations to all you walk him throughout the four corners of the earth, continuing to push and do the works in truth and in sincerity. Shalom.